And therefore, they take the loss deliberately to earn foreign exchange $1 trillion a year. It's increasing 10% every year. If nothing is done in 5 years, he will have five more trillions in his hand. We know they already have 7.4 trillion. It's in the book, and they earn $1 trillion a year more, used for military purposes, coercion purposes, lending purposes, dual purposes.
Welcome to the Reboot Chronicles, your gateway to the world's most influential leaders who are rebooting their organizations and themselves to thrive in unprecedented times. I'm your host, Dean DeBias, CEO who's rebooted dozens of companies, creating billions in value. My passion is uncovering inspiring reboot stories. So buckle up, lean in, and please share this episode with a friend. It may help reboot their career and their life.
I'd like to welcome a friend of the show and previous guest backed by popular demand, Dr. Ram Charan, a world-renowned advisor and one of the most prolific business authors of our time with 30 books in dozens of languages, 4 million copies sold, including his latest, China's 90% model, which takes on one of our most consequential challenges, how China plans to dominate the world and what that means to all of us. Like me, Ram is a top business and government rebooter who cuts through the consulting crap and chaos, leading complex organizations with global impact that's really hard to overstate. With decades advising CEOs and boards, leaders call him when facing high-stakes decisions, which is why Fortune calls him the most influential consultant alive. Glad he's alive. With too many accolades to list, what I like about Ram, which basically sets him apart from others, is his ability to see the connected tissue around global business issues and help CEOs see around corners to navigate what's coming next. Ram, just where are we in the AI revolution, and what the heck should CEOs be doing?
You know, this is a different question now. And Dean, I'm not pursuing that at all, what's happening. I'm pursuing what companies need to do and why they are failing.
Great point.
So I can go back to your earlier question. That was the question.
So what should companies do and why are they not doing it?
Yes. Digitize now or die. Step number 1. Do not get your CDO to be the captain of doing digitizing. You will be a miserable failure. That's what 95% of people are doing. You got to take charge yourself, or somebody who has full power, understand total business, and knows people inside. Appoint him or her as the czar. Number 2, don't start embed AI in the company. No. Work backwards first, something you know well as a CEO. How to increase revenue quantumly. How to improve productive quantumly. How to experience of the customer go quantumly. In B2B, how to create the linkage with the customer, supply chain, product development, innovation, new thoughts that double his business in a short period of time, increases margins. Start with the business improvement in mind. There are only 5 variables: revenue, cost, innovation, speed, balance sheet, that includes working capital, and the employee experience and customer experience. This is what you have today. If you have index of 100 in one of these, how to take it to 100. Then ask. AI is a tool. Get the CDU with you. Tell them exactly what you want business-wide in detail in writing. And say, go to work. And assign a team of 4 people, not 5, not 6. And say, here is your team. Start together, and we will give you more people as you need. Large teams don't work. You start with small teams, build a little crystal. Next, pick one project only. Learn how to do it. A project which will pay for itself in a short period. So you earn for it, and you use that to pay for the next one, then 3 more at the same time, 4 more at the same time. Dean, I'm not describing anything new. That is how Amazon was built.
Yeah, it's true.
Amazon sell the legacy companies. Amazon B2B in logistics. The number one, number two depends on FedEx, UPS. They've done it.
Yeah. As you
Fred
know,
Smith, digital guy.
as you know, I grew up at
UPS.
FedEx. Fred Smith was one of my mentors. I think Amazon learned from FedEx, quite frankly. So you're right. It all sounds so easy when you say it, and then they get lost in the fog of war. Some of them don't even have a CDO, which you refer to, Chief Digital Officer. If they do, it's the wrong.
The simple part is doing. We say, Mr. CEO, cut it out to get the CDO to do it. You take charge and you define what quantum change you want to make in your business outcome. That's not hard. That's their job.
So what do you say?
And then
when you look at
get the CEO to do it.
Yeah, we're going to come back to Walmart and Amazon later, both as a friend and a foe.
Yes.
I'll bring it up, but not everyone are them, first of all. So most companies don't have the right people in the right seats at the right time, including a chief digital or the next generation of people, and the tech companies are scrambling to hire the brightest minds. Therefore, the next tier companies, the industrialists, whoever, the Fortune 500, they're not necessarily attracting the best talent in the world. How do they compete with the tech guys who right now are pretty much overpaying for the best digital talent?
Dean, in businesses like Walmart, you don't need million people in tech. They use outsourcing. They have a small number of people. They are not at Amazon in building, roughly many millions of people there. No, these are the people who use a smaller number of people in technology area. Getting them is not that impossible thing. They are getting it. They are doing it. The problem is the bosses not defining what is needed.
Or
They're
he'll
lazy. They don't want to get to the details.
Exactly.
They do a big picture.
You know what I've noticed being out on the road like you and I travel all around the globe. It's like there's a lot of people on the stage talking about AI, including me, and there's people out there actually not just doing it, but actually executing, making an impact, picking the categories you said: revenue, cost, innovation, whatever it is.
Yes.
I've noticed there's two kinds of companies right now, as there is in any technology revolution. You saw the same nonsense in the metaverse bubble for like a few months. Yeah, how do you shake them loose and say, enough of the speeches, let's go?
Yep. Yeah. Ask the question again.
Just when you look at the priorities of the company, so reducing costs, increasing revenue, improving innovation, driving supply chain, your top five. How do you kind of get
and customer experience?
And customer experience. Number five, to me, the most important one. And many of them have started with that. Well, all they've really done is automated call centers with really so-so AI. It hasn't been that great. So that was the experimentation phase.
No. Customer experience start in the call center. I am changing personally the call centers of companies. And I'm saying don't ever use the word call center. This is the first moment of truth.
It's not a call. It's a contact or whatever. It's an experience.
First moment. Customer experience. First moment of truth. Get on with it. The AI. Treat these people, pay them high. You know who is the best in the world? American Express. Their customer call is
Boy, there's a
fantastic.
lesson there. And they're not the cheapest in the world either. It's interesting.
Doesn't matter. Because the customers are there. They deliver numbers. They have to pay for the right talent. You don't say talent has to be cheaper. It's a value creating talent. Customer call is not a cost. It's a value creating investment. You got to get the right people. That's where the customer calls. They have been doing it wrong. The person who runs it is 5 levels below the CEO. I love what Jeff Bezos used to do. He himself will call up as a customer and then will show his top people and say, what the devil is going on here?
Fred Smith used to do that as well. Right.
He personally reviewed that.
And as you know, Amazon, that was the last thing they fixed. They were not really, that was not one of their core values until they bought Zappos. And that, I think, retrained their culture, but that's another story. By the way, Fred Smith used to call the call center all the time too. Just
Yeah, why not?
call
That's
your own,
correct.
call your own call
Because
center and go to your website. They suck. It's like, oh god.
You understood?
So can we talk?
You see, FedEx, 76 years, 1976, where Jeff Bezos built it from scratch. These things came later. That Fred Smith went after it. I'm the great devotee of Fred Smith. One day, a chairman of a very large company took me, and Fred spent 3 days because he wanted to buy FedEx in the 1980s. That's how I saw the whole thing. He was far ahead in technology usage.
That's how we differentiated there. It was all a tech play, way back.
But always customer on time, always on time.
I could tell you some stories, but maybe next episode. We have talked about a lot of your books on the program. The China 90% model is the latest, which will be coming out right
Yes.
about when the show airs. And China has they're basically they not only want the American economy, they think a lot of people in America think that China is like our commerce partner, but as you and I know, they're not. It's about economic conquest, and you've often said, rob, replicate, and replace. These guys, this is global warfare and dominance of almost every industry, both the industrial ones that you and I play with, and we mostly talk about consumer. So tell us about the book and what was most shocking to you, or at least that will shock the rules.
Dean, you are one of the very few people who put your finger on so incisively.
Well,
You nailed it about the
try.
China thing. And that would destroy democracy. How append America? How destroy America's industrial base? How? Through 90% model. And do not let America or anybody else destroy the economy of China. You put that very succinctly. And that's where it is right now. So the competition today is between Trump and Xi. It's not America and China. Two people are negotiating, not negotiating. All that is what is driving the New World Order. A company in America is not competing with a Chinese company. It is competing with President Xi.
And countries around the world I think countries around the world are starting to get it, and they're starting to act more centralist because they should realize that who they're up against. You can't just compete on open market.
It's a good news. Are learning, but today, as I wrote in the book, China has a foot on the throat of American economy and economy of every country. People don't have the retaliation yet to take the foot off. They may understand it, but they don't have how to take the
And
foot
anyone
off.
listening in, no matter what industry you're in, from robotics to candy to medicine, they have your foot. They have their foot on your throat as a great
Daily usage, pots and
pots and
pans.
pans, which sometimes
Yeah.
are nuclear reactive food, shrimp, or all these other things you hear about.
A $10 shirt,
$1.
you know, it's loss. Think about that. And therefore, they take the loss deliberately to earn foreign exchange $1 trillion a year. It's increasing 10% every year. If nothing is done in 5 years, he will have 5 more trillions in his hand. We know they already have 7.4 trillion. It's in the book, and they earn $1 trillion a year more, used for military purposes, coercion purposes, lending purposes, dual purposes, and hollowing the economy's industrial power of at least 50 countries.
It's the most dynamic long game I've ever seen played, maybe back to 2,000 years ago. So before we jump into the political ramifications and let's just dive into the consumer side of this, because they want to dominate every industry. But you look at Walmart
Sure.
and Amazon, they're not helping. They're making it too easy for all of us, not just Americans, around the world to buy cheap crap from China, and we do. So we are enabling it. I don't see this incestuous systemic engine stopping anytime soon. What should we do?
Yes. But first thing I want you to know, Chinese products in America or elsewhere, they are cheap because of the decisions by President Xi of the 90% model. If you destroy 90% model, Chinese economy collapses. Now, what should we do? That's a great question. First, is President Trump is doing the right things. If you sort noise out, his things he takes every single day and changes them, you take those out, he is doing the right thing. Number one is figuring it out how to take the foot off the American economy throat. That package is being built, people hard at work. I have talked to the Secretary of Commerce. I've talked to the czar that is in charge of rare elements, and I have access to other people. I did a Fox interview that President Trump personally watched. So this is happening. I'm preparing also. But whatever that step is, it cannot be published because every step has to be an element of surprise. When President Xi stopped supplying magnets, it was a total surprise. That's how you create
That's a good one. So
negotiations.
most consumers never understood what the hell is a magnet or rare earth. Well, guess what? Now they do. Now they get it. They're like, oh, it works.
Oh, I don't think so. No. Dean, the consumers don't understand. Not even the CEOs of companies understand, except it's your company. Because they get the cheapest, high quality stuff. They don't know why this is so. Then, in fact, attacking Trump. Why are you having tariffs? Media is attacking Trump. Why are you having tariffs? It is against the philosophy, against this, and that you creating the problem for the world and not China. The ignorance is 98, 99%, including in business CEOs. Because I talk to one CEO every day.
There's always emotion involved. What about other countries, though? I mean, I look at India. They should be making some smarter moves in how they deal with China.
No, for the India, I will say to you this way. India is on fire. Good growth. Remember,
they're riding the tech wave, no question.
GDP growth is very important. It's not perfect. We have come a long way under Mr. Modi over the last 11 years and continue to do so. He's vigorous, he's consistent, and he is driving it. There will always be differences among people, among countries, between Trump and Modi. These things are going to come and go.
So you and I know many CEOs that know the prime minister well, and they love working with India as compared to China. Like John Chambers has been on the program. He refuses to let any of his companies, whether they're unicorns or not, work with Chinese government officials or any companies. So he's hardcore India. Not everyone else is, but they trust them more. But, India could become a much more powerful company aligned with the U.S. than China. Am I on the right track? Am I on the right track there?
First thing, Prime Minister Modi is very clear. He will be situationally independent, not the old way of creating alliances. You're not a slave to any side. Number two, the Indian culture is more 100% democratic. It will never be communistic. And the practices of business are fully capitalism. Why they have some controls? Because keeping resources. Today, India has $600 billion of reserves. India has the best team in the world, and I mean in the world, of Prime Minister, Governor of Reserve Bank, as Chief Financial of the Secretary of Finance, Minister of Finance. They work as a team. There is no country other than India that has these three people working together as a team to watch currency, watch growth, watch trade deficit, watch business deficits, watch federal deficit. It is slow, consistent to protect currency and grow the business, create more employment. Employment increase is number one priority, which we should expect. And the Prime Minister has done a great job in an 11-year period. And the state of increasing employment is increasing. Now we have the states coming along and joining the Prime Minister. So now we've come a long way. To the Prime Minister's inviting businesses come with the idea. I give you one, the beautiful job. He has asked everybody, give me a list of 100 products that we must immediately manufacture in India.
And we've had a couple
Think
of
about
your we've had some of the CEOs of the largest public Indian companies on, and they are dead set on coming into the United States, everything from tractors to cars to anything, because they realize, we're the market. But if they look at, economies, it's China as well. So they've got a lot to juggle there. But back to the US, as CEOs, maybe let's take it down a notch. Maybe not just the Fortune 100s, but these mid cap, couple $100 billion range, anywhere from $2 billion and up, let's say. You know what? They look at their sector, they realize they're getting competition from all over the country. What is there anybody that's doing it right that you say, hey, these guys they have a good approach, they know what they're doing, they know how to compete globally? Because many companies struggle with that, and it's not just about cost.
Yeah. Dean, I have companies do the analysis. Hard facts. If you take the 90% model to 30% world demand share, Chinese are not cost effective. If you remove the 20% depreciation of their currency, they are not effective. If you take the subsidies out, they are not competitive. We know that. I looked at the solar panels, detailed analysis. So this is what is going to be done. Over time, the governments will recognize this, and there is no substitute other than banning the imports.
So anybody doing things right over here that you think could be a good model that other CEOs listening?
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Forget some of your favorites.
And in groups of companies, one group particularly has begun on the journey to produce components that China has been producing. They're using Chinese, South Koreans, Japanese to come and train people. Now, investment being made in rare earth, very heavy, fast. India is going to become self-sufficient in semiconductors. No question. They now have a foundry that is going to work. All those efforts are going. Give us another 3-4 years, and you will see this thing is moving. Particularly if you look at the companies like Japan, South Korea, Israel, United States, Germany, they're all going to come, and Australia. You come together in India, you will see a renaissance of building the industrial might that is very important, and then see how China competes. But the China's 90% model is the one, if you don't destroy it or make it less effective, there is no other way. You can do and build your own industry competitively.
So, you and I advise a lot of boards. I'm chairman of a few companies. One of them, it's called PBC Linear, Illinois company. They make actuators and, bearings and motion, everything that makes products move, right? Well, we have a joint venture in China, so we're not afraid of China. We work with them. Small part of the business, but what we've noticed this renaissance of interest in U.S. companies. We're one of the few companies at scale that do that in the U.S. that is still a wholly owned U.S. asset, and we're getting a lot of interest from partners all over the world, all the countries you just mentioned. And the reason I bring it up is the U.S. You and I feel need to have a longer term strategy, right? Which current administration is trying to do, which is hard to do in a political system that invests in long-term growth of whatever, to pick the sector. I'm picking manufacturing of components, which is what this particular company does. We're seeing a lot of positive movement up and to the right, but it's tough. It's
Correct.
slow, and people from consumer, they're impatient. I think you called them lazy at one point. It's like, how do we keep our eye on the ball and not lose this war 4, 5, 6 years from now?
Yeah, but I want to lay out very, very
Please.
directly. America will not have a national economic strategy like a 5-year plan that China does. It picks up specific areas and boosts them, nurtures them, funds them, do anything they want to do. We don't do that in democracy. France tried it and failed. India tried it until Mr. Modi eliminated it. They don't work. To have comprehensive national economic strategy, product by product, it does not work. We should not expect it.
Is it because it doesn't survive the next administration, or that they're just out of touch with the market trends? Or
no, the initiative of the self is what makes America. Initiative of the self, what makes India. We have those right now. Israel, look at this little country. Singapore, look at this.
You're
little
mentioning
country.
you're mentioning it's democracy is important. Okay.
Initiative of individual is going to overcome a autocratic top-down administration. They do all fail.
But is that? But did the authoritative top-down administrations? How do you
top-down?
How do you cut them off at the knees?
Yeah, the reason they succeed is fear and the naivete of the Western to give all those technologies for almost free. That's what created. Had the Americans known that 15 years ago, you will not see this. We knew. 10 years ago, we knew. Trump raised all that issue in 2015, did something, and then came Biden, didn't do really as much as needed. Now Trump back again, and now time lost, it has to be recouped. That's what matters. People should have faith, the initiative individual, and the courage and guts, willpower of a Trump-like CEO of the nation. No question, you can win the war. It may take 30 years.
Yeah, we need to get better playing the long game. When you look at CEOs, they tune into this program to get reboot lessons. I like to give them reboot mistakes. So what mistakes have these companies been making that you're pointing out in the boardrooms that we could actually learn from right here?
The mistake number one, get AI embedded in your company faster the better. Get out of the office, go to the field, get the people to define what is needed for revenue, cost, productivity, customer experience, employee experience. This is your job. People are now doing it, and fund it. Don't give up productivity, innovation, and customer experience. You will get there. But get out of these 5-year plans, get out of those PowerPoint presentation, numbing your mind, 10 meetings a day. Those days are over. You won't survive. The turnover of CEOs is high and more to come.
Used to be
because the old ways of doing the delegation are over.
Yeah, the hands-on
You
part
got to be
is important. If you remember back in COVID, I hate to always bring up COVID, so I try not to, but you saw a bunch of CEOs get involved in their business, and because their secretary wasn't there, so they would just call people, and I found that very refreshing and a great movement, and it helped a lot of
Yes.
companies.
It is. That's what we need. And you have great examples. Marcel in the Moderna, hands-on, totally digitized. They are not Chinese. I have number of CEOs in India, totally hands-on. You don't hear their names. So this is age of CEOs who are hands-on. You can quote that.
I mean, you know, I taught at Kellogg for 10 years. You've come there and spoke at our governance event many times. But if I had some of my colleagues in the room right now or on this podcast, but we only do one guest at a time, they would say, no, the CEO can't be hands-on involved in everything. I'm like, yeah, they can. Especially the five
No,
things that Ram
no,
just pointed out. Those are the 5 most important things.
no, we actually abused what CEO is supposed to do. We say delegate, delegate, delegate. You just control. You use the numbers to control. The numbers guy got in power who don't understand what a customer is, and they don't understand what the detail of operation is. I used to coach the 3 geniuses of Intel, Andy Grove, Gordon Moore, and Bob Noyce. They were hands-on. They retired, came at Barrett, an academic running an Intel. You gone out of your mind? The Intel decline began
So
with Ed
sad.
Barrett.
American,
Barrett. What Ed
yeah,
Barrett?
it'll come back.
And after that, look at the number of CEOs change in Intel. A CFO running Intel, you must be kidding.
Well, hold on.
Look at the
Another
board of
episode.
Intel. It's
Yeah.
being hanged. Now
Ever
there
since
is a change.
Sarbanes-Oxley, we've been putting CFOs in charge of strategics, which is, by the way, Andy Grove was my favorite of the 3 horsemen there. He's been over
I
my
used
house.
to
We've
go-
done fundraisers together. And one time we were having this dinner, and he had this one. I won't say the name of the company. It was another CEO one end. He was at the other end, and he took that CEO to the woodshed verbally in front of everyone. He was not afraid to tell you where you were wrong, which is what I love getting those lessons of mistakes, reboot lessons that went bad. Tell them to people. So he literally straightened this guy out. He was Covad. I'll just say what the company was. It was, one of the first telecom providers.
Dean, I will sit in his cubicle, listen to the
Yeah.
calls, sit in his meetings. He was abusive sometimes,
Very
very
harsh.
harsh, and he would get to the arguments. And there was no better person on the planet except Jack Welch and Jack Breen of Sherwin-Williams that make sure things agreed upon get
Yeah.
done.
I liked Andy a little
Otherwise, you
better.
have
I don't know why,
to pay.
probably because I got to know him a little bit. But so in the book, what are a couple of your favorite companies that you like to point out that are helping fight this?
No. No. Dean, a favorite company of today can be a problem tomorrow. You look at the leaders of the companies who have a better chance to succeed. Companies are not competing. The leaders are competing, improving or letting it go down. That happens at Intel, not Microsoft. Before Satya Nadella, Microsoft. And then you have the other companies I mentioned to you, Starbucks. There's a series of these and more to come. They are directly dependent on the fit of the CEO and the board with what is needed now and going into the future. You saw in the case of Walmart, Mike Duke's tenure was shorter than normal. Now, Doug has been 13 years. Great. We need a successor. They have it. And he changed line people who came from outside, who understand how to use AI. He made that change in a major way. Nobody seems to know that. He brought the CHRO from Adobe. Think about that one 6 years ago.
That was bold.
That whole thing. How to select a person, how to promote a person, how to judge a person. Adobe came Shantanu, an engineer at lower level. At the time he came in, I worked for his boss, Bruce. And then he grew and grew. He took Adobe from something state company to be having higher market value than IBM, except for the last 2 years.
You know, you're right. When you look at the rise and fall of brands, you're a student of business. I'm a student of business history way back, 1800s. But when you look at the rise and fall of brands, Adobe should have gone down, and it was revived because it was a one-trick pony, right? And so you're saying, yeah, that's basically based on leadership. But when you look at companies and you look at how they went away or how they lost their edge or how they moved, that's where Reboot was inventive. Keeping companies from irrelevance, obscurity, and decline is about rebooting their people, their product, their passion, a bunch of other things. What do you think, looking at the second half of this decade, is the most important thing for brands to do?
Yes. First, companies don't do that. The people in power do that. So people need to understand companies don't go down on their own. Now, second half of the decade, which is roughly 27 to 30, 28 to 30, the fundamentals never die. First, keep your eye on the customer need, and supplying it in a way that the customer is able to be served. If you're competing with China, come to terms. Can you compete? Can you not? To do that, you got to know how geopolitical equation will help you do that. Number two is that your cost structure, productivity structure, innovation structure continues in the right direction, and therefore capital allocation. Number three, find the right 2% of the people who are going to be the right fit going forward. Number four is get your AI, improve the speed, improve the agility going forward so that they are very poor. And the last one, nothing is more important that you have a quality that is differentiated against anybody. Go to the basics. Make your company software defined. Don't swallow the elephant in one bite. Take one project, get it done, learn it, earn money, use it to do the next one, and then accelerate it. Now, doing it is hands-on. No baloney, no PowerPoints, getting on to do this. Walmart demonstrated. I believe Anand Krishna and IBM has demonstrated. You can see it is carrying on, and now it's getting out of the old stuff and conducting IBM into the new game. And there is hope, and there is a positivity to going forward. It was inherently, and I still believe, has the power of technology that they can do that. People are still there and can attract it. Now people have more faith in IBM. Investors have more faith in IBM. It's going to come back. I have no doubt in my mind.
All right, Ram, I'll have to leave it there. Thanks for the advice. I need some help with the not wanting to eat the elephant all in one sitting. It is a common error that we make. We go after the big prize instead of the long play. So anyway, great advice. Ram, appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, one more thing I did not say. Every company must have a boardroom. They must do
I love that.
daily the nuggets or the noise. 99% is noise. Less than 1% are the nuggets. They don't come every day. And then chart across what they mean. What they mean is your human skill.
Yeah, well,
must be done daily.
I'm a huge believer in that. Again, not to kill a dead horse here, but we used to do that way back in the Federal Express days, and it works. I'll put some links in the podcast to what that means and how people can do it, and of course share the book as well. Thanks, Ram. Appreciate you joining us today. It's great to see you, of course. You've been listening to Reboot Guru Ram Charan. This is Dean Tobias with the Reboot Chronicles. I want to thank you for joining us today. Check us out wherever you get podcasts or at rebootchronicles.com.